Ryan Rose is an account manager for Allied Sports. He speaks how his love for golf made a job available for him in sports marketing. He simply did what he loves and found a position that works for him. Hello, Ryan.
Hey there, how are you?
I'm good. Thank you so much for coming for this interview.
Thanks for having me. Excited to be here.
It is my pleasure to have you for this interview. Can you take me on your career journey from when you started at Rutgers to where you are right now?
Absolutely. So I attended Rutgers from 2013 to 2017 was my undergrad. I played golf there at school, which was a ton of fun. It was about my sophomore year, excuse me, where I was sort of balancing academics and athletics, not really sure where I wanted to take my career. And I was lucky enough to have a class with Professor Mark Beal. It was a public relations course, which had some marketing involved. And I think a light bulb just kind of went off in my head that sort of communication slash the sports marketing route is the direction I wanted to take my career. And Mark really became a mentor to me in terms of I really was going up to him after it felt like every class asking him questions, and then he was helping with my resume, introducing me to different people, and then he ultimately got my foot in the door for my first internship at a sports marketing agency called IMG in New York City after my junior year of school, which was an awesome experience, and I kept in touch with the people there, and then upon finishing up undergrad an opportunity became available in the Chicago office. And Mark, once again, was really instrumental in helping get my foot in the door there. I reached out to the folks that I interned with in the city, and they knew some people in the Chicago office as well. So it really got my foot in the door, which is awesome. And I spent 3 years with IMG, which eventually rebranded to 160 over 90. Loved my time with them. Then unfortunately the pandemic hit and I was working out of my apartment. I always thought about going back to grad school, and it sort of provided the a unique opportunity to go back to Rutgers, and I studied the global sports business program for a couple years while going back to coach with the golf team. And that program was really instrumental in terms of networking. And then upon completing that, I was looking at different opportunities and one this fairly new agency in New York City called Allied Sports. Had a few people from IMG that had moved over there, and I was familiar with them. And it was an opportunity to work at sort of a smaller agency working on some big projects. And in golf is the account that I currently work on, Cisco Golf, which is a lot of fun for me personally. So it was a unique opportunity to work with some people I'm familiar with, but also in a space that excites me. So it's been a lot of fun, but Rutgers has been really instrumental sort of in every step in preparing me for where I am now.
That is very cool. I mean, your work is play at this point, right?
It does feel like it at times. We have some events that we travel to throughout the year, which is a ton of fun just to be outside of the golf course. Of course, there's some work in the lead up and on site as well, but just being in a space that you love and you're passionate about, I think is really rewarding. So I've been enjoying it a lot so far.
Yeah. You're going out to events and then you're playing golf and then you're networking more. And then I do want to get to the networking piece later, but in all of this, I would like to ask you, could you tell me some skills apart from golf skills that you've developed on your journey?
I think honestly, going back to when I was at Rutgers undergrad, just I think the program really does a good job of sort of sharpening the skills you need for whatever career you end up taking, because communications is so wide ranging and you can kind of tailor your degree in the direction you want to take your career. So I felt very prepared when it came to sort of strategic marketing, understanding how campaigns work. Even though I don't work in the public relations space, PR is a huge part of marketing. So understanding that side of things as well. I think I think everyone's a little bit nervous going into their first internship, but I think I quickly realized how much overlap and how well that the program did prepare me for the things that you do see in the real world. So I think those are some big things, like more tactical career stuff, but then also the soft skills that communications does prepare you for, just whether it's being as good of a teammate as you can, whether you're on a team or in a job. I think that's a big part of it. Being able to communicate with people both via digital mediums like email and Teams messaging, but also in person as well. I think understanding those dynamics is really helpful and goes a long way in sort of whatever career path you want to take.
Absolutely. I mean, understanding how PR campaigns work, especially with like marketing. I mean, they go hand in hand. And communication is key because what is going on is communication.
Totally.
So, could you tell me more about how networking has played a big part in your life or has benefited you?
I think it's been huge for me. Starting back with Professor Mark Beal, I think he introduced me to different people just throughout my search for internships and then interviewing full time. I can give you an example when I was interviewing for the full time role with IMG. He connected me with someone who was with the PR agency of record for the account that I was interviewing for. And just speaking with them and getting to know the side of the business really helped prepare me for the interview and something that I could talk to the business to the person I was interviewing with and just showing them that I did the work and am interested in it as well. And I think just being connected with people like that are close to the business, that's just kind of what you get from people at Rutgers that are willing to help you out and set you up for success. So that was big coming out of school. And then most recently, I think just talking to different people when I was going through my job search this past summer, networking. I think if you really reach out to anyone and are genuine, they're going to be willing to speak to you. And even if you're not interested in a specific role that they might have, just getting to know them a little bit, then they hear your story. I think you'll be in the back of their mind, sort of when they see different opportunities pop up, just so you're making those connections. So I think that goes a long way as well, and it sort of helped me eventually land the allied sports role.
Wow. I mean, having a position that you gain through your networking, I think nothing beats that because, I mean, in a way, you created your position for yourself.
It's a lot of help from different people, and I really just think that's the power of Rutgers. I think you could reach out to any Rutgers connection on LinkedIn, and if they see that mutual connection, they're going to be willing to help out, which I think is really awesome and unique as well.
Absolutely. Having a Rutgers network is very valuable.
So, totally agree.
So, for the last part of this interview, could you tell me some advice you would give to students at Rutgers?
I think a piece of advice I would give is that you don't necessarily don't feel too much pressure coming out of school to get whatever you have in your mind is the perfect job. I feel like try and take that pressure off yourself because it's easy to do that. I think any experience you have coming out of school, whether it ends up being a positive one, is
Mhm.
awesome. But if it ends up being something that you realize, hey, I might not like this as much, but at least you have that experience. You're able to sort of take that and figure out what exactly you want to do. So I think taking the pressure off a little bit, and just knowing that any experience that you do have will benefit you in the long run. That's sort of, I wish I had that advice as well, because I think all of us naturally put a lot of pressure on ourselves coming out of school just because it's such a big change. You are all of a sudden extremely independent. You're trying to find a career. So I think just trying to keep a level head and not putting too much pressure on yourself is important. And then the second piece I think would be just to put yourself out there in terms of networking, like we were talking about before. I think the more people you can talk to, especially in when you're going through a job search. I think just using that time to really meet as many people as possible. Because one, if they're not able to help out right away, at least you've made the connection. And a few years down the road, they might be able to help you out in a different way that you didn't even think of before. So I think just sort of telling your story, but then also learning about other people and what they do can only help you. So those would be kind of the two pieces of advice that I would give.
That's really nice, as to like go easy on yourself
Totally.
and get your speak to as many people as you can. Build that network.
100%.
I love that. Well, that sums up my questions for this interview. Thank you so much for coming and thank you so much for your time.
Thank you very much. It's been a pleasure speaking with you.